Welcome, everyone. We are live and alive. Hey, today our topic is circumstances. Remember how Neville Goddard says circumstances don't matter? Well, last night we had a lecture. Woo. And in that lecture was a phrase, an affirmation, if you will. It's not designed as an affirmation, but it is something that you tell yourself to remind yourself. And that affirmation is, oh boy, can I turn over there to it? I don't know if I'm going to disconnect, but we're going to try it out because I want to read it verbatim to you, you know? Because I still have it up. And it says, I always turn to my imagination. I always turn to my imagination when confronted with a problem, and I solve it there and remain faithful to the imaginal act, hmm, which was the solving of the problem. So I always turn to my imagination. I like it to just stay right there. I always turn to my imagination. You don't have to wait till you have a problem. You don't even need a problem. You just turn to your imagination. And this is why when he tells you that circumstances don't matter, is because of that. You always turn to your imagination. It does not matter the circumstance. I'll say it again. It doesn't matter the circumstance. Because he says, if you always turn within to your imagination, you can solve any problem. You don't need to call George. You don't need to call Susie. And you know we're not calling Karen. Right? So if you're not calling them, we're not in this world by our individual selves. There's 8 billion of us. But don't get it twisted. If Karen is required, she will play her role. If George is required, he will play his role. If Susie is required, she will play her role. It doesn't matter the circumstance. But the thing is, always turn to the imagination. It is a good habit to create. Meaning, oh my God, what am I going to do? You stop right there. Stop right now, right? You stop right where you are. Of course, if you're driving, hey, birthday girl. If you're driving, you don't stop till you get to your destination or a stoplight, right? But mentally stop. Identify the problem because, it is ill advised to ignore the problem or pretend that it isn't there. You must acknowledge the problem because when you acknowledge the problem, hey, you will see the solution. So when you see the solution, begin to experience in imagination the solution playing itself out. It is done. The problem is solved. Now, when you play out in imagination what you would like to experience in reality, you're not just playing it out because you're trying to pretend or make yourself feel better. You are doing it because you know something. You know that imagining creates reality. That's what you know. That's why you are imagining. We don't just imagine because we're bored. We don't imagine just because, eh. No, we imagine deliberately because we know that imagining creates reality. And if I experience it there in my imagination, I'm going to have to live it out. That's what you know, period. Done like dinner. The great news is this, because Neville says, If you don't believe that Jesus Christ is in you and that Jesus Christ is your own wonderful human imagination, well, then you failed the test. But here's the great news: we can repeat the test as many times as it takes until you pass it. So you see, you're never left floundering. It is up to you to get a hold of the information, the fact that what you imagine, you will experience. You don't have to fix your trauma. You don't have to love your daddy. You don't have to do anything but to stay faithful to that imaginal act. That's it. If you stay faithful to that act, how do you stay faithful to it? I ad nauseum yesterday gave you many examples of how to stay faithful, like the actor rehearsing your lines until you don't have to have your script in your back pocket. Rehearse the words, get the words down, because when you get the words down, imagining creates reality. Imagining creates reality. Yes, imagining creates reality. You will begin to become aroused, stimulated. You know, when you say that phrase, it'll start to fire you up the more true it becomes to you, which means now you're gathering the sensation of it so that when you rehearse it, you can say it with conviction, right? And when you say it with conviction, you say it with your whole chest. Well, then, do you think you'll be concerned with, is it here yet? You think you'll worry that what if it doesn't show up? No, you won't. You know why you won't worry? Is it here yet? Is it going to show up? Because know. You know that as long as you experience in imagination what you would experience in reality, you know it will come to pass. You know it. And that's the key. That's the test. Can you know it? Because that's what you're doing. You're convincing yourself of it. But look at it. You are already doing it. When you start to convince yourself of something, you begin to see the evidence of it. Well, how do I mean? Well, if you go to work and you feel within yourself that, oh my God, Karen can't stand me. I don't even know why. I didn't do nothing to Karen. Karen doesn't like me. Karen will walk by and give a little bit of a look. It's just the way she always looks at things. Maybe she got a resting bitch face. We don't know. But for some reason, you have convinced yourself that Karen doesn't like you. So now every time you see Karen or Karen sees you, you think she's giving you a nasty look. Why is that? And of course you'll say, but Angela, Karen really doesn't like me. And I'm like, you convinced yourself that Karen doesn't like you. So she cannot like you. And every day that you see her, you will begin to see little itty bits and things around that say to you, you see, she doesn't like you. Now, remember the story from Neville Goddard. The woman, she was a seamstress at the theater. And she would make the costumes. And her boss, oh my God, can you do any better? That's gross. Ew. What is this? I'm paying you for this. And he would just rip everything she did to shreds. Like with his verbally. He did not like anything she did. So she went to Neville and said, my boss really doesn't like my work and he's just so nitpicky. What do I do? And Neville said to her, so when you are on your way to work, do you have an argument in your head with your boss? She's like, yeah, I do. Because he's always insulting my work. So this is her justification. She says, I walk to work and I have an argument with him because he's always criticizing my work. Neville says to her, Here's what I want you to do. On your way to work, instead of having an argument, why don't you hear him praise your work? Why don't you hear him tell you how fantastic your work is? She was like, I don't know, but I'm going to try it. I don't know how many weeks it took. I have no idea how many weeks it took, but she did it day after day after day after day, according to the lecture. Until one such day she got to work. And her boss was like, oh my God, your stuff is like amazing. Absolutely amazing. And from that day onward, her boss had nothing but good things to say. So if you can convince yourself that what you imagine will come to pass, then it does not matter what circumstances you find yourself in. And remember, we don't find ourselves in circumstances, do we? Oh no, we commit ourselves to them. Because imagining creates reality. So the circumstance is not random. But here's the thing. You already know that imagining creates reality. What has you is you don't see how. You don't see how. You keep thinking you got to do something. Yes, you do have to do something. You have to imagine. That's what you have to do. Think about it. When you imagine and the thing that you imagine moves you, you will act upon it. And you will know what action to take. You'll know who to call. They'll find you. The money will be there. Why? Because you've seen the end result. And the end result dictates the means by which it unfolds. How do you know that imagining creates reality? Well, I've told you many times. You got a seamstress, the woman who knits or crochets, sorry, little tiny frogs. Oh, God, I will always be in awe of that. Let me tell you. You've got a tailor. You got a chef. Especially this one chef I've seen. He makes these giant pieces of artwork out of chocolate. Yeah, you heard me, out of chocolate. So he's got to melt that chocolate down and put it in a mold. And then he's got to, warm up the tip and put the other side on. And if you see, and he's not done yet. He paints it with edible paint. Well, it's not paint, but you know what I'm saying. Because it's not paint, but he paints it anyway because he's got to give you the color. So what does he do? He puts it from his imagination. Somebody said, I want a giant banana. And he made a giant chocolate banana. Peeled so it had the white that you could see and then the yellow skin. And it's all out of chocolate. And I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. I'm turning off the internet for today. They wanted a giant banana. So he had to do what? Remember what a banana looks like. Where do you remember from? Imagination. Fancy that. So you see, everybody. We were talking to Isaac last night. So Facebook emerged from somebody's imagination, those twin boys. And they were like, oh my God, we're on this college campus. We should totally be able to communicate with everybody, in our friend circle. And we'll call it, I don't know. You have a yearbook, whatever. Well, let's call it, I know, Facebook, so we can see each other. Where did that come from? Imagination. Why? Because they wanted to find a way to communicate with their friends on campus. So it came out of their imagination. So they could code, so they knew what to code and how to code it to make it look like what it looks like. And then allegedly somebody stole it. But hey, what do I know? Same thing for Instagram, right? It was centered around photos because chances are the person who came up with that idea was a photographer and wanted somewhere to put his pictures or her pictures, right? And so instant like a Polaroid. Hey. So that came out of somebody's imagination. When you watch a baker make bread, it comes out of their imagination. When you see a potter at the wheel, and let me tell you, I follow some of these potters, and they make these mugs. They made travel mugs out of clay. What? What? That, listen, we all have travel mugs in some shape or form, but you know they want to be green, right? And healthy for the environment. So they made it out of clay. That came out of their imagination. Somebody said, ooh, BPA and plastic is bad for me. So I wonder what I could do to make a travel mug. Whoa. Well, I play around with clay all day. Let me see what I can come up with. And she's got the little mouthpiece that you put your mouth on to sip. Oh, that's all clay. And you're like, dude, man. She shows you how she cut it out to make the lip. And you're like, you know what? I give up. This is. And here I am thinking, oh, I can make a mug. Please. I have tried. Clay does not conform to me because I can't see it in my head. It just doesn't conform to me because I can't see it. But let me tell you something. If I can see it, I can do it. So you see, you and I know for a cold, hard fact that imagining creates reality. You could spring out of bed in the middle of the night with an idea. I've watched these women make purses. Now, when I see this, I'm just like, who thought of that? What? Why? How does that make sense? But they sat there and thought about it, how they were going to make it, because, you know, women, we got everything but the kitchen sink, sometimes the kitchen sink in our purse. So she made all these compartments because we always carry everything, especially if you're a mom. So what I'm trying to show you is everything starts inside the mind. So maybe I could say it to you like this. You have an idea. If you have a clear idea, you can make it happen because the idea will make itself physical. Of course, not all ideas. And that's why you play around with the idea until it sits well with you. And you can say, yes, that's it. That's exactly the one. And because it moves you, because you are, you know the word I want to say. I know the word I want to say, but I can't say it. It convicts you. Yeah, that could be a word, but that's not the word I want. What is the word that I want to say? It inspires you. It moves you. Mm, it fires you up when you land upon the right idea. Like when Isaac came up with the name fan base and BU without limits. Listen, he didn't just come up with it. He went through a bunch of words. And when the right combination hit him, he was like, that's it. Because he said everybody has a fan base. Uh-huh. And he goes, wait, well, that's what we're going to call it. You see, so when you toy around with the ideas in your imagination, one of them will stand out to you and feel most natural. And then that's the one that hits you and stirs you. When it stirs the loins, because that's what stirs, right? The loins. Your most innermost part of you, the most tender part of you, the loin. When that is stirred up, Now you are inspired to act. But you're not going to act until you are stirred up. So that's why when you toy around with the idea in your imagination, what would it feel like if I were the man or the woman I wanted to be? Oh my God, what if I could solve this problem? And you begin to toy around with solutions. Well, the one solution that is most natural and turns you on, that's the one you're going to act out. And when you start acting it out, the whole team will begin to come together because you need the team, and they'll come together. Not because you can't do it on your own, but the team, because everybody's going to play their role in the birthing of your idea from your imagination. So you see, when I say imagining creates reality, you know that it is true. So what's the problem? Why are we stuck there? Well, I don't know. Maybe that one's a little bit too big for the law. Maybe it doesn't work for some things. The circumstances do not matter. What is the solution that you can see that feels most natural to you? And when you see it, you begin to convince yourself of it. And then everybody comes on to play their part, good, bad, or indifferent. That's why circumstances don't matter. I'm not telling you circumstances don't matter because I'm bored and I want something to tell you. I'm telling you they don't matter because you have the solution. The solution is imagining creates reality. It doesn't matter what problem you have, there is one solution. Imagining creates reality. But my dog, imagining creates reality. Oh, but my garden, imagining creates my car, imagining creates reality. Money, imagining creates reality. I need a man. I need a woman in my life. Imagining creates reality. So it doesn't matter what circumstances you want to give me. Because Neville even went so far as to say, well, people who are missing limbs and such, imagining creates reality, but we just don't think it is possible. We think only some things. We think the law is limited. And do you know why we think the law is limited? Because humanity is limited. We would be. We have limitations. Humans have limitations, but don't tell that to David Goggins because they don't call him Superman for nothing. He's busted every limitation the human body has. Running on broken feet. Look, I'm done. I am done. Duct tape had a new function for this man. He just taped up his foot and he took off. Why? Because he saw the finish line. And he was so focused on the finish line, and having crossed that finish line, he compelled his body to circumvent the sensation of pain. But let me tell you something, Linda, when he was done, he had surgery, and then the next day he was out running again. I'm like, wait, what? Not just any kind of surgery. I think it was heart surgery. And I said, Lord, did he not get the memo that humans have limitations? He did not. So you see, humanity, yeah, we do have some limitations. But the law is limitless. The law is limitless. And the law is imagining creates reality. That's the law. That's correspondence. As within, so without. As above, so below. So the thing to do this morning, this day, when you're testing yourself according to Neville Goddard, he says to test yourself because that's according to scripture. test yourself. How do you test yourself? By staying faithful to the imaginal act. By rehearsing that imaginal act in your mind's eye, toying with it all the time. It shows up as an inner conversation. It just does. You could have an image in your mind that makes you say something. You could have a sentence in your mind that makes you respond. You could have a smell, a taste that makes you say, delicioso, right? You could have anything because you have senses. You use your senses because you're in this body and you've got to sense yourself because you have to sense yourself because you're aware of yourself. So you start sensing yourself. Where are you? What are you doing? You begin to sense yourself. Now, what do you want the self to do? Get into your imagination and show yourself what you want to do. That's why you rehearse and you stay faithful. So you see, the circumstances don't matter. But my daddy, Lord. But my mama, Lord. The circumstances do not matter. Only one thing matters. Imagining creates reality. So when you hear the affirmation, I always turn to my imagination. You don't need to say anything more than that. I always turn to my imagination. Because when you say it, it implies that when you turn to your imagination, that's the solution to any problem. Simple phrase. I always turn to my imagination. Why would you always turn to your imagination? Because that's where the solution is. That's what I want to experience. So I will turn there. That's what you do. Yeah, but there is no but. But I gotta change this about myself before I can believe. No, you don't. Look around you. You have the evidence. Do you think that Tesla, I'm talking about the car now, not the man. You think that Tesla just drew itself on paper? Mm-mm. Somebody designed it. They wanted it to drive down the road because it's electrical, right? They wanted it to drive down the road without resistance. Because the more resistance you have, the faster the battery goes. So they made all the handles to what? Fold in. It's ergonomic if you look at it, right? The airstream that flows over it. Beautiful idea. It came out of somebody's imagination. Let's make an electric car. Because we used to have those hundreds of years ago. But shh, we won't tell anybody. And the only man I know who I can pay homage to, that's the father of harnessing electricity in the first place, is Nikola Tesla. But you can't call it a Nikola. Oh my God, I'm going to get in my Nikola. Oh, that just doesn't sound right, does it? Ooh, I'm going to get in my Tesla. That's the name of my car, Tesla. So I'm going to get in it. And there you have it. That's the name. Right? Same for KitchenAid with the stand mixer. These housewives need something to help them in the kitchen, something to aid them. Oh, that's right, a KitchenAid. And that's the brand name. It's a KitchenAid. I'm showing you ad nauseum. I'm telling it to you so much you might vomit. You're like, you're so tired of hearing it. But I don't care how tired you are of hearing it. Because faith comes by hearing. You know what I want for you? I want that you get up in the morning, you say, imagination creates reality. I'm ready. I'm ready. Imagination creates reality. I'm ready. And you do it. And you do it. You come upon a circumstance and you want to open your mouth and say, but, ooh, imagination creates reality. And you get into your imagination and you mold that circumstance and you shape it into what you want it to be. And you say, okay, that's done. Let me go on now. Because I know it's just a matter of moments and it will be there. It took that woman 2 months to crochet her wedding dress. Mm-hmm. So she got up and she did it every day. So for us, you get up. It doesn't matter what you do. I want for you and myself. So don't think that I'm like SpongeBob already. Don't think that. I'm working my way up. I practice every day. You could be standing at the bus stop. You could be waiting at the train station. And you're in your mind's eye, you're saying, "Ooh, imagination creates reality. What am I going to try it out with today? Ooh, let me see. What am I going to test it out on today?" And some kind of an idea will hit you. And you go, "Ooh, ooh, let's test it out here. Ooh, let's test it out there." And you get so excited. You change your whole life. People are saying to you, why are you glowing? Why are you like all peaceful and stuff? You different. You changed. These kinds of things don't bother you anymore. Why? Because you're not consumed with things. You're the one being diligent and faithful to what? Imagining creates reality. And that's where you live. You live life from where? As within, so without. Where's that trauma that you had? Where's that trauma card that you had that you used to pull out all the time and go, "Oh yeah, but my trauma"? Where did that go? Huh. Huh. You see? Where did it go? Do you know why it seemed to have disappeared? Because you ain't looking at it and you're not living your life by it. You're living your life how? Imagination creates reality. That's where you're so busy. That's got you so wrapped up in it. You're so enamored with it. You're so in love with it that you can say, "I only have eyes for you." Imagination creates reality. That's all you have eyes for. You can't see nothing else. And all of a sudden, it just looks like you woke up and you don't have to deal with trauma anymore. Not because you had a dark night of the soul or you healed your inner child. You removed your attention and you put it where? Imagination creates reality. And what happens? Things wither and die for want of attention. You took your attention away. You want to say, "But my IVF treatments aren't working. I'm still not pregnant." Oh, what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I always turn to my imagination. So what you gonna see? You gonna see that baby. You gonna hear that baby. You gonna smell that baby because they, yes, especially if you breastfeed a baby. Oh, they have a most beautiful smell. You can't help but smell them. They're so that new baby smell. And can you see yourself with bags under your eyes? Because you know you ain't gonna get no sleep. Especially with a breastfed baby. Please. Every 2 hours, you'll be like, "Oh my God." Well, can you see it? But you know why it's not going to affect you and make you feel like you're being beat down because you had no sleep? Do you know why that's not going to affect you? You know why you'll get the lanolin or the olive oil, might get a little graphic, to put on your cracked nipples? You know what? You know why that's not going to bother you? Because you created that baby in your imagination. And every time you pick up your baby, every time you whisper to your baby, "Oh, you're so sweet." And you know what you'll say to your baby? "I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb." Why? Because you created your baby. So you see, circumstances do not matter. I know we could talk about that latest incident. Of course we could. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to call its name, but we could talk about that incident and grief, especially in such a tragic form. What do you do when the pain is so raw? Please. I just almost said, "Baby, I like it raw." Oh God. Angela, you got problems. Shit. What do you do when the grief is that just fresh and raw in your life? You turn towards your imagination. To do what? One, feel a sense of justice. Two, a balm, a soothing, healing balm, because now you've got to be there for the family and you've got to be strong. Get into your imagination and soothe yourself. So when people look at you and they say, wait, this didn't affect you, you can say yes. But what would I do? What how would I be of benefit if I fall to pieces? I'm holding myself together by way of the law. I'm not telling you I don't still hurt and I'm not still angry, but I will not be broken into any pieces. I will maintain my wholeness by way of the law so that I can see clearly what needs to be done, so that I can be here for my family. And you begin to see that the family is whole and not fractured. That's what you do. So again, the circumstances do not matter. They do not. You understand what I'm saying to you? I trust. I can't believe I just snapped my lips. Boy, oh boy. Listen, circumstances do not matter. You make it your business. Make it your business to always turn to your imagination. And you'll find that you'll stop turning to your imagination. Do you know why? Because you'll already be there. All you're doing is practicing turning so that at such time you don't have to practice turning anymore because you're already facing the imagination. And that's the only place you live from. You will not have to remind yourself to turn to your imagination because you'll say, I am my imagination. See what happens to you the more you practice? You become what you practice. Oh, oh. You don't need me to tell you anything more. It's time to practice. Let us take a moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space today. Hello, Rone. Hey, not. Hey. YouTube and Facebook. Hilarion on Twitter. Tajane. No, I gotta do it like Oracle Treehouse. Shay. Tajane. Hey. I love it. Hey. Yeah. Oracle Treehouse is here. Miss Crenshaw is here. Miss McQueen. Fawn. Yes. And you already know Shay and Tasha Nay are here. And Joaquin is here also. So when you hear the bowl, bird song will be in the distance. Because my man is in the basement. Because he was panting up in here already from the heat this morning. So I said, oh Lord, let's put you to cool down, hey? So I spritzed him. He's not a fan of being spritzed. He does not like it. So I have to hold him and spritz him where he can give me the side eye. But this morning, as you hear the bowl, what do you want for your life? You want for your life that you turn to your imagination, that you are your imagination, and that you use it deliberately all day, every day. It is how you structure your day. It is how you structure your week. It is how you structure your month, your year, your destiny. But you got to start one day at a time. Don't ask. But you have to start one day at a time. One moment at a time is how you start. So when you hear the bowl, make that decision. When you're in church and they say, when the choir starts to sing, I want you to make your way down to the altar. And I want you to repent for anything you've done because Jesus is going to forgive you. I want you to accept Jesus as your Lord and your Savior. Put that into context now because we know better. Where is Jesus Christ? Within. Yes. As what? Your own wonderful human what? Imagination. He's not on the outside of you. So when you hear the bull and the bird song this morning, listen, have a radical change of mental attitude. Repent. That's what repentance means. A radical change of mental attitude. And there is no more radical change of a mental attitude than imagining creates reality. Yeah, but my boss isn't promoting me. You're who what? Isn't promoting you? You're who? Your boss. Wait, what? Your boss isn't promoting you? I didn't hear you right the first time. Your boss is not promoting you? Oh, so your boss can promote or withhold? Lies. Do you want the promotion? Then imagining creates reality. What would it look like if you were promoted? How would you walk down the corridor or the hallway to your new office, your new secretary, your bigger paycheck? That is what matters. Hmm? That is what matters. Remember, it is I who has the power to lay my life down or to pick it up. Ain't nobody, right? Nobody can withhold or promote you. Nobody but you. All you have to determine is if you want it. Yeah, but what if I ain't got the qualifications? Oh, hallelujah, have mercy. What did we say? Imagining creates reality. So this morning, as you hear that bull, you find it somewhere within you, some kind of gumption within you, and you draw it up from the depths of your very being. And you find that peace within that reminds you imagining creates reality. And I can be as creative as I want to be to bring about my solution. Yeah, but what do I do when I have the imaginal act? Keep imagining it and rehearsing it. That's it? Yes. Well, but then what else do I do? Keep doing your job. Do your chores. Bathe your kids. Walk the dog. Cook your dinner. Do what you do. Why? Because all of the little tiny pieces required are coming together. You can't see them. But as long as you hold on and rehearse the imaginal act, it will continue to knit itself in the womb of what? Life. And it will come together. So you don't have to sit there and wait for it. It's coming together. Hey, Jojo. So take your time. You live your life. But remember, imagining creates reality. Let's get the bowl. Because you know how we don't want to pull yesterday because we got to let Miss Fawn go so she can continue her party. Why? Because it's her birthday. We're going to party like it's your... Well, I don't need 50 cents coming from me. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. So where is it? Let's play the bowl. And what are you going to do? You're going to know that imagining creates reality because you have all of the evidence you need. You have every ounce of evidence. Oh, Angela, one moment, please. Let me... do this. Oh, we don't have it? Did I not do it right? I know that YouTube has it. YouTube has the bowl. That's embarrassing. That's never happened to me before. Well, they're going to hear it on YouTube, and you will get your guided meditation. If you are driving, mind your business and just drive. But if you are in a safe space right now, you're sitting at your desk, you're sipping your tea, I want you to simply allow yourself to continue to relax. As you inhale, feel that cool air as it enters the nose. And as you exhale through the nose, that air just passes right through. As you inhale through the nose, allow the lungs to be filled with air. And as you exhale, allow the shoulders to relax. Allow your shoulders to relax. That's it. Allow your belly to relax as well. As you continue to inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose, just simply allow the body to relax. If you're sitting at the table, you can stretch your arms above your head. And then just let your arms gently fall to the sides because they feel heavy, nice and relaxed. Take your time. Take your time. And if you're still sitting, you can point those toes and then let the legs relax. That's it. Just take your time. And if you sip your tea or your coffee, can you feel it as you swallow? How warm it is as you sip it. As you swallow it, just allow the body to continue to relax. Just let it relax. Take your time and just relax. Take your time. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to either see yourself or hear yourself or hear someone tell you something, or you're having dinner or breakfast. You can see yourself as being secure. You are secure in the knowledge that as you deliberately imagine, you create your experience. Begin to see that about yourself. Begin to see and feel the self-control that you have over your life. Begin to feel that security, that confidence, that yes, I do create. I create my reality. I create my reality. Remember, your words do not return unto you void, but they accomplish what you set them out to do. I create my reality. Why? Because I am imagination. Take your time and just rest in that. Just rest with that thought. I create my reality. Feel the security of knowing that statement. Just take your time. Take your time. So when you're ready, you can just start to get a sense of where you are yet again. Feel your arms, your legs, the feel of the mug in your hand or the phone. And just open your eyes. And you come right back to where you are. And remind yourself, as you go through this day, imagining creates reality. I create my reality. I am imagination. All three statements mean the exact same thing. And whichever one resonates, you see, because that's the word I was looking for all morning. And you see how naturally it just came? You never have to force yourself to do anything, do you? It just comes naturally and easily. So whichever one of those statements resonates with you more, I create my reality. Imagining creates reality. I am imagination. Whichever one resonates, and that's the one you practice. Day in and day out. Because circumstances do not matter because you are the one with the power. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, checkmate. Thank you all for being here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Fanbase. I'll see you tonight. I don't remember the lecture for tonight. I really do it. But it's already there. So I'll see you tonight at 10:45 p.m. and where we will read that lecture and fall asleep in the state of the wish fulfilled. Much love to you, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, Fanbase.